turned out to be that all the men are on my right-hand side and all the women. Can we? Have a seat. So we thought as a closing, it would be good to hear from few participants representing the diversity of our conference, a feedback in 2 minutes. Something about the conference that they will take home, some maybe recommendation that have anything that is on their mind they would like to share with us in 2 minutes. And we will start with Reverend Dr. George Mason. George, welcome. You didn't have a chance to speak at the conference. This is your turn.
Thank you, and rightfully so, I did not have a chance to speak, because this was a great privilege to listen to many of you who spoke, and I was taken by the way you spoke out of your experience, and how there were so many moments of intersectionality with the solidarity that people had from all parts of the world coming and doing their research and sharing their experiences, and it was a beautiful thing for me to experience. However, at times, I must say, I asked myself the question, what does it have to do with me? Which leads me always to go back to the great writer James Baldwin's warning about how astonishing it is the lengths to which men and people will go to avoid a truthful mirror. It is easy for someone like me to listen to you and wonder, this is existential for you in your life. What does it have to do with me? But as Dr. King said, we live in this inescapable network of mutuality. And we are caught in this single garment of destiny. So what happens to one directly affects all indirectly. So what does it do to me to have experienced this? It reminds me that I have too the residue of colonialism. That I have to do my work too. Because I look too much like the problem everywhere I am. And this is an honesty that is important for us to do our work, whether it's in the United States, where I have to deal with my participation in a system of racism that I have benefited from, or in the Christian world and in the colonialism that we're experiencing here, how I must speak not just out of charity, but out of justice. That charity always ends up benefiting the one who does the giving. But justice is about sorting out, as Brueggemann says, what belongs to whom, and giving it back. And so I'm recommitting myself as a result of this time to being changed by this experience, and to living in solidarity with all of you in the ways that are possible for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, George. Also on this stage, you are somehow representing Bright Stars of Bethlehem because you are leading there the pastoral council, so great to have you here. From the United States, we moved to Japan. It's a long journey. And I was amazed to hear Kaoru actually giving her lecture in Arabic, and her Arabic proved to be better than my Arabic. My Arabic is good, I tell you, but her was really better. So, Kaoru, what would you like to take with you to Japan. And you can speak in Arabic.
Yes. مساء الخير. Actually, I would like to speak in Arabic. So اسمحوا لي أن أحكي كلمتين بالعربي وبعدين بالإنجليزي. Dear international friends, please forgive me to speak in Arabic first, then in English, because Arabic is my second language after Japanese. And since I was 18 years old, I have been reading, writing, speaking Arabic on a daily basis. So now it is the important part of my identity. So, and I love speaking Arabic. So, منذ كان عمري 18 سنة بدأت أتعلم اللغة العربية وثقفت نفسي بالكتب العربية وتعلمت عن المجتمع العربي من خلال قراءة الروايات العربية وتعرفت على القضية الفلسطينية ومعاناة الشعب الفلسطيني ومقاوماته أيضا من خلال قراءة أعمال غسان كنفاني أميرة حبيبي ومحمود درويش وغيرهم من الأدباء الفلسطينيين. وشاركت في هذا المؤتمر لأني كنت أحلم دائما أن أتحدث عن بحثي عن الأدب الفلسطيني على أرض فلسطين وباللغة العربية. واليوم لقد حققت هذا الحلم وأشكر مجددا على جامعة دار الكلمة على تنظيم هذا المؤتمر الرائع وتقبلي فيه. كذلك أشكركم على تنظيم الرحلة في أراضي 48 وداخل الضفة الغربية لأرى بأم عيني أن العرب الفلسطينيين يصمدون ويحافظون على جذورهم وهويتهم رغم كل المصاعب، مما أثبت قول شاعركم أن على هذه الأرض ما يستحق الحياة. I have been always dreaming that I talk about my research on the Palestinian literature here in Palestine and in Arabic. And today my dream has come true. And I thank Dar Kalima University for organizing this incredible conference and for having me with those wonderful friends. Also, I appreciate a lot for taking us to the bus tour all around the 48 territories and to the West Bank to see that Palestinians keep struggling and maintaining their roots and identities that reaffirm the words of the Palestinian poet on this earth that which deserves life. Shukran.
Thank you, Kaoru. And yesterday it was amazing. I wanted actually to introduce Kaoru to a Palestinian scholar who has been working his entire life in Japan. And so I brought the two together yesterday evening at the concert just to realize that Dr. Kleber was the teacher of Professor Kaoru. It's a small world after all. So from Japan, we will move now to Germany. Professor Heidemarie, she's not only a professor, but also she serves on the board of our Friendship Association in Germany. And so, Heidemarie, you have now the word.
I start with saying thank you so much to all of you, to all organizers of this wonderful encounter. The heart is full. Full of many thoughts, and I will start in a way also with a personal perspective on what I take with me, which is at the same time a political aspect or a political perspective, because what I see, what I take with me depends on my social position and I said it already this morning. I'm a white person. I come from Germany in the European Union. That's where I grew up. I have Christian affiliations. And that means that I have a package or a luggage on my shoulders, or Germans often see this as a luggage, as a package. This is a particular history all of you know. And only recently we discovered that we as a society, we discovered there is also a colonial legacy. And here I learned once more that colonial legacies are not just an issue of the past, but it's the present, and it shapes me, it shapes our relation, and it's a question for me also of responsibility. So what do I take with me is to break the silence. In Germany, you find many contexts. The whole discourse in Germany is structured by a regime, particular regime that makes it very hard to speak about Palestine. And this is what I take with me, once more, the strength. And this is the strange thing about it, that I always, when I come here, I come back filled with gratitude and strength once more, to speak out and to say what is. You have to know that when we talk about occupation, you are already accused as an anti-Semite, and I strengthened my attitude once more here, and I found it very important also to understand how colonialism operates here, right now, in the present, and which way I am also personally, politically, with my German history, and I'm part of this colonial history. This is what I take with me. And also to say, or to strengthen once more, that this is for me, in many ways, also a moral issue. So, because in many ways we discuss apartheid, for example, as a legal issue, as an issue of rights. But for me, this is also a moral issue, and I think there is this new dimension in my reality which will strengthen the moral responsibility to speak out and to stop the silencing. That's what I take with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidemarie. And for many of you, this is your first conference with us, but I tell you, Heidemarie has been here maybe, 4 or 5 times with us, either here or in Cyprus. So we will shift a bit, because now I think we have Dr. Bashar Shammoud, so we will shift to him. I hope that Dr. Bashar is hearing us and that we can hear him. Let's try that, I hope. Dr. Bashar, I take him now because also he's from Germany, so we will try to finish the German part. So, Dr. Bashar?
Yes. مسموع؟
كثير.
ممتاز. اوكي، يعني انا راح احكي بس هيك كلمات صغيره نيابه عن العائله، عائله اسماعيل شموط، تحديدا عن الوالده الفنانه تمام الاكحل. فحبيت اولا اشكر الصديق العزيز الدكتور البروفيسور أوتيس متري راهب لهذه المبادره الرائعه واحياء اسم اسماعيل شموط. طبعا كمان حبيت أذكر وأشكر معالي الدكتور إيهاب سيسو، لأنه هو كان محرك وراء فكرة عنوان الجائزة لهذا العام، وهي الحاجز 75. طبعا أشكر كل الطاقم اللي عمل على الجائزة، وطبعا الممولين لهذه الجائزة، نيابة يعني عن العائلة وعن والد الوالدة وإخواني. يعني حبيت بس هيك أشارككم ولو على الأقل إلكترونيا حتى أكون معكم في هذه الأمسية وفي هذا الجو وفي هذه يعني أكون هيك جزء من الوطن. الثقافة دائما أنا يعني بقول إن الثقافة والفنون هي يعني باقية للأبد. يعني الشعب أو الشباب والفنانين اللي بينتجوا العمل الثقافي والفني فهم الذين يكتبون التاريخ. وبحب أذكر بهالمناسبة جملة عندما رحل الوالد كتبها أو طلب محمود درويش الراحل محمود درويش أنه تكتب على قبر وعلى ضريح إسماعيل شموت، وهي قتلتك الموت قتلتك الفنون يا موت. بمعنى أنه أنت الفن هو باقي والموت يعني راحل. فيعني إحنا كلنا بنذكر يعني إذا بدنا نحكي عن مصر القديمة وأيام الفراعنة فكلنا بنذكر أول شيء الفنون. يعني دائما هي الفنون التي تكتب التاريخ والتي توثق الحضارات يعني شو أو إنتاجات الحضارات هاي. فبالتالي أنا بحيي كل الشباب الجيل الجديد، وأنا يعني بحيي دار الكلمة لإحياء الفكرة والجائزة. والجيل الجديد هو الجيل الذي يبني المستقبل. وفي يعني طلب مني شخصيا ومنا كلياتنا العاملين في مجال الثقافة والفنون إنه تبقوا أصليين في إنتاجاتكم. يعني ما يعني أنت لكل جيل له طابعه ولكل جيل له شخصيته وكل جيل له إنتاجاته. فأنتم اللي عملتوا الأعمال اللي قدمتوها اليوم واللي نجحت كلها برأيي كانت ناجحة، كانت مميزة في الفكرة وإحداث الحدث والزمن. فبالتالي أنتم يعني أنتجتم شيء راح تحكي عنه الناس بعد 50 سنة و100 سنة. فكلنا بنحط إيدينا بإيدين بعض، كل واحد كمل مشوار من شأن أنه نبني في طريق التحرير ونبني هذا الوطن للمستقبل. وشكرا.
شكرا دكتور بشار. For those who don't know Dr. Bashar, he's not only the son of the late Ismail Shamout, but actually he is a specialist in the digitization of archival material. And he spoke earlier at several of our conferences. I'm not going to translate everything, but he thanked Dar al-Kalima, and he quoted Mahmoud Darwish when his father died, the father of Bashar, Ismail Shamout, when he died. Mahmoud Darwish wrote a sentence to be put on the tomb of Ismail Shamout, which says, "O death, not where is your strength like in the Bible, but O death, the arts have killed you," which means art is even stronger than death. And he encouraged the young people to look for their own identity in doing art rather than trying to imitate somebody else. So this is in a nutshell. From Bashar Shamout, we moved to Gaza. And we are really very fortunate to have Rana with us, who's the director of our satellite program in Gaza. Actually, the al-Kalima University is the only university in all of Palestine which has a satellite in Gaza as a West Bank university. And Rana joined us on July 1st this year. Unfortunately, a few other scholars from Gaza applied for permits but didn't get it. We were glad that Rana got it, and she's with here. She will leave tomorrow to Gaza. So Rana, the world is yours.
شكرا دكتور متري، واهلا وسهلا فيكم جميعا ويسعد مساكم. رنا بطراوي، بحب اخبركم بالبدايه بسبب الفن انتقلت للعيش اللي صار لي 22 سنة عايشة بغزة، وهذه الفترة كانت سبب إني أتعرف قديش نحن الفلسطينيين قديش بنكون في صعوبة اللي بيعيش بغزة بيحصل على تصريح للدخول على والتنقل بين المدن، وهذا كان جزء من رحلتي كمان بالفن. فأنا جدا محظوظة أني حصلت على تصريح في وقت المؤتمر وقدرت أحضر هذا المؤتمر الدولي الرائع بالنسبة لي، لأنه كان من المدهش بالنسبة لي أني أشوف هالقد أوراق عمل وهالقد جنسيات ومختلفة ومتعددة، وأحضر مؤتمر كامل في كل تجربتي. وهذا الشيء أكيد بنعكس علي شخصياً وعلى رؤيتي اللي رح أنقلها على مدينة غزة والمشهد الثقافي الفلسطيني، اللي قديش إحنا بنقدر من خلال تنقلنا وتعاملنا مع الجامعات وعدد المشاركين من الجامعات، قديش تعلمت وتعرفت على كثير من الأشخاص والدكاترة والعلماء والأدباء، وهذا كان شيء مبهر وكثير سعيدة بهذا الشيء. وبتشكر طبعا دار الكلمة إنها أعطتني هذه الفرصة، ومن خلال مساحة دار الكلمة بحب أحكي كمان قديش في غزة الإمكانيات البسيطة قدرت جامعة دار الكلمة تخلق مساحة لعمل تدريبات وكورسات تفيد الشباب والشابات في مدينة غزة وحتى الأطفال والمجتمع في مشاركات متعددة وتدريبات متميزة. في تدريب حالياً بنقوم فيه ولأول مرة في غزة تطوير الملف الشخصي للفنان، وأيضاً في بعد كل كورس بعد كل تدريب بنعمل معرض جماعي للفنانين ونعطيهم فرصة ليعرضوا ويشاركوا الجمهور بأعمالهم الفنية. وأيضاً بندرب وبنعطي ورشات عمل في تسويق وريادة الأعمال حتى نمكنهم من دخول سوق العمل ووجود فرص ليمارسوا المهارات اللي تعلموها. وهذه المساحة الموجودة بدار الكلمة كانت عليها إقبال شديد من الجيل الجديد، وأنا سعيدة جدا بإني أكون جزء من تمكين هذا الجيل الجديد. وبتشكر دار الكلمة، وبتمنى كمان تتابعوا وتشوفوا شو بيصير في غزة من أنشطة وإبداع، هذا بيشرفنا جميعا. شكرا لكم.
Thank you, Rana. Actually, Rana herself is an artist. She does sculpture. And actually, out of her passion for art, 22 years ago, she decided to move to Gaza. So it was by choice that she moved actually to Gaza. She said she enjoyed every minute of this conference to meet such a diverse group of scholars and to be able for the first time to participate in the whole conference in person. She spoke about our program in Gaza, that the goal of this program is to create space for art in Gaza, for students, but also for kids as well. She said right now they are having a workshop upon the request of the students how to develop an artistic portfolio. And after every workshop, she said, they exhibit the artwork of the students. So actually almost every month or every second month, we have an opening of an exhibition, art exhibition in Gaza with the artwork of the students. Another workshop that is going on right now is a marketing workshop, because we want that Gaza art be accessible worldwide for people. And we want to encourage artists really to promote their work and to sell their work so that they can have a livelihood. And she concluded by saying, please follow us on social media. She is very active, I tell you, on social media. I cannot catch up with everything she puts on there. But Rana, thank you, and great to have you, and safe journey back to Gaza. Now we will move to hear from three of our partners in this conference, and I will start with Luciano.
Thank you, Mitri. First of all, thank you so much for this conference. I also enjoyed every minute of it. And the first thing that I'm going to take with me to Italy, where I live, although I represent a US partner, the Presbyterian Church USA, is the artwork that I saw in the hall and that was also presented here tonight. Every time that I travel somewhere, I try to go to a museum, to an art museum. I couldn't do that here, but what a great art museum here at al-Kalima. Also, thank you so much for this partnership, Mitri. We are proud as a PCUSA to be partnering with you and all the other partners in Palestine. And I go back with a renewed commitment to the cause, to the Palestinian cause. I also want to thank all those who have worked behind the scene at this conference. Very often we only see those who are on stage, but so many people have worked, and the workers are often those who are, behind the success of a conference. Also the culinary students who served lunch, dinner, and so on and so forth. And it is very difficult to share just in a few sentences the richness of this conference. And we've heard so many brilliant presentations, but just let me mention a few words and concepts that in my mind and in my heart I weave as a tapestry of intellect and activism and resistance. And so we've talked about land, culture, and people, and we know that there's a land and there are other lands that are occupied, there are people who are occupied, and there are cultures who are occupied. But we've also experienced here that both this land, people in Palestine and elsewhere, and cultures are also part of the resistance. So there's occupation, but there's also resistance. We're going back charged with we are charged to continue our work to decolonize ourselves, our minds, especially those of us who live in the West, and to commit to a decolonized Palestine. As Professor Raheb said, Palestine is also a dream, but it's also a reality of resistance. I will also bring with me the words and faces of all of you who have been, as Reverend Ottis said, we are a jazz band with many solo parts, and every person who's been on stage here, who's given a presentation, has been a solo artist, intellectual and activist, being part of this wonderful jazz band that we've been all part of. I go back with some hope and some hopelessness. The hope resides in the struggle that we are all committed to. The hopelessness resides in the fact that things seem to be getting worse. And as a partner who, with my colleagues, sometimes do advocacy work on Palestine, we also see a lot of hopelessness because things in Washington, D.C. Don't change. I'm going to end here because I only had 2 minutes. I think I've already taken 4. But thank you so much, Mitri, kudos, and free Palestine.
Thank you, Luciano. We are really blessed to have this relationship with PCUSA for the last 25 years. And just for your information, last year we pulled together a huge conference in Chile on the issue of Christian Zionism, because Christian Zionism is now spreading like crazy in the global south, not only in the global north. And we hope to have another conference like that in Asia next year, which is in planning. We move to another partner, and it's a very special partner because Mona, who represent the World Communion of Reformed Churches, until a few years ago she was a colleague with us here, and now she is a partner suddenly, so that's a bit weird, but we are so proud of what she is doing. Mona, the word is yours.
Thank you, Assis. Yeah, I mean, thank you for this welcoming. It's a different kind of welcoming because it's always been welcoming with you, Assis. And Reverend Mitri has been one of the mentors and one of the people who actually use theology, but they put it in action, not these lukewarm languages that we only hear about. So this was really inspirational for me as when I used to be younger, to go into the field of theology and to go into the field of advocacy for our right as Palestinian people. So it's good to be here, Assis. And it's a bit weird, as you said, because I'm from Bethlehem and I grew up here, my family is here, and now since I live in Germany, it's a different kind of homecoming because when I was working here, I was working for advocacy, but I was doing it because it was the natural thing for me to be doing advocacy when you're seeing all the circumstances that we have to go through every day. But now, when you're in Germany, you have to prove why it's so important to do advocacy for the Palestinian people in Germany, in Europe, in the West. It gives you a whole different definition of what really is advocacy and how do you define advocacy as you move. Moving is something that we Palestinians have constantly to do. I had a thought while I was coming here. I was driving to come to the conference in the morning, and just as I was driving, I was trying to put on a radio channel, just to put some music on. And then I had a debate with my sister which channel we should put on. And then when we eventually decided to put on a channel, there was like a bit of distortion in the channel because of the satellite. So you could hear a little bit of, Israeli satellites coming into the radio of the Palestinian FM channels. All to say that this is very representational of our situation in Palestine, and the depiction of Palestine in the media that's also always distorted. That is, there's so many people trying to tap the line and to really distort the image of Palestine. So just to go back to what this conference really represents, it really represents the diversity that the Palestinian people have always embraced and have really been a living proof of that, that we have a diverse people, we have a diverse culture, and even when the land is being constantly trying to be taken away from us, we are trying to defy that by being here as a people, as a representation of our culture, and also as a critical mind that really defies all the bags and the baggage that we all have, whether we're from Palestine or, and this is something that we can all, I think, relate to, that we have lots of intersectionality, but we have lots of baggage that we have to unpack so that we can start seeing clearly for the justice, because it's a humanity thing and it's something that we all care about if we want to live together. So this is what I'll be taking with me from this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Mona. And Mona did an excellent thesis in Ireland 2 years ago on Christian Zionism. Encourage you to read it. And she will be with us next year in a conference we are doing for emerging leaders in the Middle East, not only Palestine, but Syria, Egypt, Lebanon, Iraq, and Jordan. So, last but not least, we are glad that the last word will be for the Reverend Dr. Ottis Moss III. We started with you on Sunday morning, and we end with you today. Reverend?
Thank you so much, Father Mitri. I want to first thank you again for your witness and your work, and for inviting us to be a part of this absolutely stunning and amazing conference, and for your creativity and your imagination, your radical imagination, for planting this tree, better known as a university, in this space. And it doth not yet appear what shall be, but God knoweth and God careth. And we thank you. We thank you for your work. I will take with me from this time together that I witnessed the embodiment of what Audre Lorde stated: shall we utilize the Master's tools to rebuild the Master's house? But to witness in this space where we are creating and designing new tools for the possibility of liberation. As we have come from different spaces across the U.S. for our tour of Black Jerusalem, we have become connected, not knowing that we had sisters and brothers thousands of miles away here in this space, in the different quarters of Jerusalem, in Bethlehem, in Dimona, and all the spaces that we have traveled. And I have witnessed personally the beauty and power of art as resistance and vaccine. That art has the ability to resist colonialism, but it is also the vaccine of colonialism. Because colonialism is a virus that mutates as it travels from generation to generation. And there must be a new inoculation for every generation. And it's obvious from all of the people who've gathered here that they are creating the kind of inoculation that will bless generations that are not yet born. I'm reminded of two things that I would like to share, and just drawing from creation, from nature. That when we witness a tree, normally people will talk about that tree reaching up toward the sky, and it has deep roots, searching and looking for a water source. I found out something recently as my wife was sharing with me about the redwood trees in California. The redwood trees are these incredibly massive trees. I mean, the trunk of a tree is probably almost as wide as this stage, but they do not have deep roots at all. Their roots do not go down, they go out. They go out to other trees. that when a tree is not receiving enough light or enough water, one tree provides the necessary sustenance for the next tree. And if you disturb one tree, you end up harming the entire forest. And I believe that we have gathered here, that we are not individual trees, but we are part of a network, a redwood network of individuals who are collectively a part of a forest. And if you mess with one tree, you end up messing with the whole forest. And I want to let you know that your roots go all the way to the south side of Chicago. You mess with one tree, you mess with the forest.
Wow, thank you. We take that seriously. And we are really proud of this partnership. Before concluding, just would like to say that with the QR codes, you have received one QR code for evaluation. We would love to hear from each one of you, how can we do better next time? But speaking about imagination, any ideas you might have for future cooperation? You might think it's crazy, you know? Our crazy world needs crazy people like us. Because imagine we would leave the world to the real crazy people, and we talked about them enough at this conference. All the presentations were videotaped, and we are planning to put them online next week for those who did not tell us that they don't want the material to be online, because we respect that, but we think what we experienced here, we would like to make available for people worldwide, but we want to do them once you leave the country, because we don't want you tomorrow, you know, to be invited for a cup of coffee at the airport in Tel Aviv. And last but not least, as each of our conferences, we plan publications of the proceedings, so stay tuned. You will hear from my colleague in the coming days. Let's thank again all 7 speakers here on stage.